Alright, so parabola video number 1. I'm just going to briefly go through a few things in the notes here. If you have questions, you may want to ask in class. I think some of your questions may get answered as you go through the next 4 videos after this of the example problems. So you've worked with parabolas all throughout algebra. I'm not sure if you ever talked about the exact definition of a parabola, but a parabola is the set of all points x, y in a plane. So in a plane we just mean a flat surface that are equidistant, so the same distance from a fixed line called the directrix and a fixed point called the focus that is not on the directrix. Okay, so you can see in our picture over here we've got our focus over here. We've got our directrix over here. Again, the directrix is a line. You'll hear me say that quite often. So since it's a line, it has to have the equation of a line. So it's going to be either x equals or y equals. And when I pick a point that's on the parabola, so let's say this point right over here, if I measure the distance to the directrix, that's shown as d1 here, and I measure the distance from that same point to the focus, those two distances are going to be the same, and that's denoted by the same variable here, d1. Alright, and then if I pick another point, let's say this point right over here, okay, and again measure the distance from this point to the focus and measure the distance from that point to the directrix, those distances are going to be the same. That's denoted by the d2's. So the parabola represents every single point where if I measure the distance from that point to the focus and from that point to the directrix, it will be the same. Okay, so these two segments would be the same length. Right, and again, notice that the focus is going to be inside the curve, the directrix is going to be outside the curve. Right, and this one has a vertical parabola that opens up. But unlike algebra, we're going to also have horizontal parabolas which can open left and right. So here's our standard forms. You should have made this correction over here in your notes because there was a typo there. For a horizontal parabola, notice that the y term is squared. That's different than algebra. And over here, the x squared is term. That's vertical, opens up and down. Okay, up and down. And this is horizontal, opens left and right. Right, so we've got y minus k squared is equal to 4 times p, and this p is going to be important for us because it's going to tell us how far to move from the vertex, times x minus h. And for this one, we just switch the x minus h and the y minus k. Right, we can pull off all of our stuff here, vertex hk, just like our center for our other conic sections. And then I have some formulas here for the focus and the directrix, but really I just figure out, does it open up and down and left and right, and is p positive or is p negative? And once I figure that out, really I can figure all of this stuff out just from the graph or a sketch of the graph. And the same thing here with the axis of symmetry. It should be axis of symmetry. I'm just going to figure these out from the graph as well. If you really like formulas, you can memorize these, but I really don't recommend that. Okay, so here's a couple of graphs. These both open in a positive direction. So this is a horizontal parabola that opens to the right. This is a vertical parabola that opens up. Notice the distance from the center to the focus is my distance p. Alright, so this distance is p from here to here, but this distance is also p from here to here. Okay, so just like a and b with ellipses and hyperbolas, p is our magic number. It tells us how far to move from the vertex to the left and the right for horizontal, or if it's vertical, up and down. So again, p is the distance between these two, vertex and focus, and it's also the distance from the vertex to the directrix. Okay, a lot of information here. Again, I don't recommend memorizing it. Just kind of understand once you find the vertex if p is positive or negative and whether it opens horizontally or vertically. Same examples, except now p is negative, p is negative, p is negative. So if it's horizontal and p is negative, it opens left. If it's vertical and p is negative, it opens down. So study this for a little bit. We're going to use it extensively in the next 4 videos with the examples. And if you have any questions, need some clarification, make sure that you ask me in class.